Okay, we're now on the air. He requested that we say our name. I'm Michael Malagon.
I'm Tessa Wade, or Tessa Spence, one of them.
Well, there's a wedding picture in the background, so.
Yeah. The school doesn't, I don't know if the school legally knows what my name is yet, so one of those.
Perfect.
I'm Matthew Greenhalgh.
There we go.
Okay, welcome to our first group meeting. It was kind of a train wreck getting it started, but I think we got all the kinks ironed out.
It'll be a lot easier next time, I'm sure.
Yeah, now that Matthew, by the way, are you okay with just sticking with Hangouts from now on since it can record?
Yeah, that's fine.
Sweet. Does anyone want to volunteer to lead this group? Because I'm still discombobulated.
I can. I have the questions up.
Sweet, let's do it.
Okay, so we're doing the Steve Carpenter Cake Financial case study. So some of the questions that I talked about for our group discussion, the first one, it says, was the opportunity that Carper identified in late 2005 promising? In making this assessment, suspend your judgment of Carpenter's implementation of the plan and focus solely on the potential of the business model that he initially proposed.
I feel like at first it wasn't super promising. It seemed a little bit like it was a stretch, at least the way I was reading it.
Yeah, I kind of had like two different ideas, and like maybe it's just because I'm looking at it from different perspectives, but yeah, like I kind of agreed with you where like I didn't personally see it as promising, but the fact that he was able to get like quite a bit of seed funding and like a few rounds of funding, it kind of made me question like, well, other people think that it's promising. Like other people must have thought that it was really, really promising. And so I was like, maybe I'm just like not understanding it right. Because usually investors and people who are giving you money, like they know their stuff. And so if they think that your business plan is really good, I don't know.
Yeah, and it also wasn't the first idea he had.
Hey guys, I think we're going over the wrong questions.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, because if you look at the end of the week folder, we have the group discussion instructions, has a whole different set of questions that we're supposed to discuss. And then there's also a group assignment that we have to complete.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was just looking, I was like, am I in the wrong thing?
I think is a discussion like a text discussion? That's what I'm thinking that discussion is. Because there is a discussion board. You see what I mean right below that assignment?
Yeah, but
oh, but then I see there's a meeting link assignment. That's what you're talking about.
Well, there's a meeting link assignment to submit the meeting link. And then group discussion, this talks about our meeting, starting off the meeting, having somebody say a prayer, share a spiritual thought. So there's actually like a format for our meeting. And then there's also a group assignment that says, as a group, review the concepts, write convincing responses, submit that. One person in the group submits that assignment.
See if you guys can click that link I just sent out. I think that's exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, because yeah, I was just going over the questions that say like prepare for your group discussion by answer.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, group discussion. So
yeah, that's a personal assignment that we prepare for today's meeting with.
Okay. Well, good thing we have you, Carissa.
That was such a good catch. That was amazing.
I just got confused and thought maybe I was on the wrong page.
So we need an opening prayer.
I can say it.
And is Brother Nebuchadnezzar supposed to be in this meeting?
Well, no. So what Ellie, and totally correct me if I'm wrong, but I understood that we record our meeting every week, but he's only going to actually watch our meeting at random twice in the whole semester.
Okay.
Because he's going to choose one group every week to actually watch their meeting. So he might not even watch this recording this week. Like, we don't know. And so he said that because he's going to choose one every week to watch, it means by the end of the semester, all of us will have been watched twice and will be graded on that.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so did that link work for you guys then? What I just sent you? The group discussion assignment?
Yeah, that's the assignment that we fill out the 2 questions, right? No, this is the other one. Okay, this is the discussion one. Yeah, there's a group discussion and a group assignment, and we're supposed to talk about both.
So it says, to begin your group discussion, quickly reconstruct the key elements of the CAKE financial business model. This is hard. I don't know what we're doing.
Well, I bet he's gonna expect. I mean, I would still send him this this recording just because, like, I think that he. I mean, first off, he seems like a really, really nice guy and understanding, and I feel like this is probably how it is every semester, where the first meeting is kind of like, what are we supposed to do?
So to begin your group discussion, quickly reconstruct the key elements of the CAKE financial business model, starting with customer value proposition.
So the customer value was to try to create basically one place that people could view their portfolios in conjunction and in juxtaposition from other people, and kind of try to get as much information as they could. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
what you guys think?
Okay, wait. I think I might have found it. Are you guys talking about where it says, like, we're supposed to write convincing responses to what should Stephen Carpenter have done differently, and should
that is the other half of this meeting.
The what?
That's the other part that we have to do. So like the first part we have to do, let's see, when you're looking at the end of the week folder, you have participation grades, group discussion instructions. That's where we're at. And then we have the, down below, we have the assignment to also fill out as a group.
Okay. Well, I can open up my assignment in like another tab. And so when we get to that part, I can, because it says as a group, compose your responses in a Word document and submit the write-up. I can do that part.
Okay. Okay. So, all right.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be kind of daunting. Look at the size of this assignment.
I know. And then there's 2 different things you're trying to talk about in the meeting. It's kind of a lot.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So Steve Carpenter, his customer value, what he was trying to provide was a social platform for investing and people to look at their different portfolios and to be able to learn from each other, because they most often would share with family and friends information, but they always felt like the actual professionals out there weren't always giving them all the information or something. So that he thought that this would be a good way for them to develop a social connection.
Yeah, I think that's nail on the head.
Yeah, so then the market plan was to create the platform, gather people who could write and share. They had to build a whole lot of software. Yeah, the interest, so that people could come in and use it. And he kind of went big right away.
Yeah, it was like a go big or go home strategy. He was like, he's got to accomplish all of these tasks right away. It wasn't very progressive. It was like all or nothing.
Yeah, and he skipped his beta testing time, which I thought was not smart.
Yeah.
I'll leave that out of that.
Well, and it seemed like in other areas, he like really focused on like practicing and talking to people and like doing like not like beta testing specifically, but seems like he put more emphasis on preparing in different areas, but then he like didn't do the beta testing.
Yeah, and that was weird because there's kind of a lot hinging on whether or not it does what it's supposed to do.
Right, and then it didn't really
seemed like a reckless decision for him then. Right. Maybe if he would have done that beta testing, it would have worked out.
Yeah.
Well, and in addition, he did the consumer focus groups but he didn't have anything for them to actually, he didn't have his MVP. He didn't have that first like tester thing where they could kind of play with it and say, you know, it'd be cool if it did this, or give him like actual feedback. It was all just very conceptual. And so all of his feedback was like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. But they didn't actually get to play with anything to really give him honest to goodness worthwhile feedback, you know?
Yeah. Right. And I think
kind of just.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say that, like, I feel like it's really important to do beta testing, not even just to get an accurate idea of like what the consumer is actually like needing and wanting, like finding their job to be done. But it's also really good because have you guys ever heard the term like it creates a love group, you know?
Yes.
Where like
I haven't.
Yeah, so pretty much it's like when you like take bands for example, like you know when there's like a band that's super popular, but the people who've like followed them, but even before they got popular, they always are like, I
knew it before it was mainstream.
Yeah, like I love that band before they got popular, you know? And you feel this sense of pride when you're like, oh my gosh, I've been with them since the beginning, you know? And so in business, they call it a love group where the people that you have beta test, like it's for two purposes. Like one, to like actually get a good idea of like what they want and what they need so you can create that. But also it creates a like super like needed and awesome loyalty from the beginning because then people are like, okay, I was a part of that business. Like I was like, I helped get them going because I was part of their beta test, you know?
That makes a lot.
That's perfect.
So I think it's really important when like beta testing should like always be involved. Even if I don't know, like even if you think you totally know what people want, like you still want to beta test so then you can have that good love group, you know?
Mm-hmm. And they'll give you the most accurate feedback as well because it's like right off the bat, like they're not really concerned with whether or not you succeed or fail right away. They just want to let you know like, hey, this could be better or this could be worse, or just I mean it's authentic, unbiased feedback. That's the whole benefit of doing those beta tests.
Yeah.
So that was kind of him shooting himself in the foot by jumping the gun there a little bit, not to use two metaphors back to back, but so how does that tie into the technology and operations strategy? Or did we already cover that?
I don't think we have. I part of that I think ties in, you know, he didn't put, we've established, he didn't put a lot of effort right away into all the testing, but he put an exorbitant amount of effort into, we have to build this from the ground up. My program has to be able to aggregate years worth of data, and these, you know, I can't possibly license from other people, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of feel like I get why he was saying he needed to do that. But to beta test, he could have easily just licensed and started out and built to the fact of, okay, we need to build our own program, and then slowly done that. But instead he kind of went, no, it has to start here. And I don't know, I just felt like that wasn't the right choice.
It just feels impatient.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a business here. You're talking about something that can either make or break you. You don't want to be impatient. You want to be careful and kind of like progress slowly, make sure that you're on the right track.
Yeah. Right. Have you guys taken B499A? Like
No, that's my last class.
Okay. So in that, you're gonna love it. It's awesome. So they talk all about like different theories, you know, like all these business theories. And one of them is like being patient for growth and impatient for profit. That's like one of the names of the theories. And how when you're starting a business, like you always need to be patient for growth. And like unfortunately, I feel like entrepreneurs, like we're notorious for like we just want to see action and movement, and like we just want to see it like going and running, and because we have this like vision and dream of like, oh, this is what it's gonna look like. And so we just want to like go. But it says that like the best thing that you can do is be super like patient when it comes to growth, but then impatient for profit.
Right. So, I mean, you want that. You're like, okay, everything's in place. Let's make some money. Let's earn it.
Yeah. And because like you can make money while you're beta testing. Like you could charge like the people who are beta testing, you know? So like I think that there's I think that it's even important because then you can see like, okay, well, how much are you guys willing to like pay for this like product or service?
Yeah, I think that was perfect.
All right, the cash flow formula. What do you guys think of that?
That's tricky. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff going on as far as income and expenses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed like he had different focuses at different times. Because at least like what I understood from the case is that like with like at different points, he was like wanting a certain amount of funding. And I don't know if this is like answering the question, I don't know. But like he had different funding and he was going to use it for like different things. But I thought that like maybe he wasn't thinking and like really accurately figuring out which parts he needed to be focusing on so he knew what the funding was going to be used for. So when he had like cash coming in and coming out, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess kind of what you're saying is like, how are we going to make this a sustainable business? You know, we've got all these pokers in the fire. Which one deserves the most attention? Which one can we trim back a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, where is this money going? So it almost seems like he didn't really have a clearly defined cash flow plan in place. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Somewhat. I think he had almost too many things. Like I'm looking at the case, and he says that he had detailed 3 revenue streams. So he already is starting off with, well, we're going to get cash from here and here and here, and this is how we're going to use it, and this is what we're going to do with it. And it seemed like it got really complicated. Like, well, this has to go here, but then I don't know. It just as they started to try and detail where all that money was going, I was like, what?
Yeah, my head was spinning when I was reading this case. I was like, this is too complicated, too fast.
It kind of, yeah, there was a lot. It just didn't seem like, I don't know, like focus on, okay, we're going to start here, we're going to get this, and then in a little bit we're going to develop another part of our company, and we'll get developed, you know, from here we'll develop that. Like he didn't have that. It was kind of like we're starting everything all at once and we're putting it out there, and it's going to be wonderful and great. And it just, you can see it in each of these 4 things where that kind of got muddled up.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, so in the case it says he concluded okay, well, I feel like this whole section is really good. But he said maybe Cake was too ambitious, and he said that maybe we had the right idea but the wrong capital structure. You know? Like maybe so I think that he even realized, like I thought that was cool, like that reflections part of the case when he says like, okay, looking back, and he even says like he questioned nearly everything about his idea, team, and execution. And then he talks about like the revenue and how like maybe it wouldn't have been like a sustainable standalone business. And he's talking about like the infrastructure of like the financial side.
Right.
So
it seems like there's a lot of doubt there.
Yeah.
But I think that was good because in our prep assignment we were asked about, you know, was this a successful failure? And I do think it was, because he learned quite a bit from it. And you can tell by the way that he's questioning things and looking back at it and going, okay. And so he's not like, oh, it was a failure, that's it, I'm all done. You know, he's looking at it going, gosh, okay,
I learned.
that did not work out. But
and so what do you guys think then? Was this doomed from the beginning, or was it a promising business model? That's question 2 out of 4.
I think that it was a promising business model had he taken more time to develop it. Instead of throwing everything all in, if he had gone through methodically and gone and developed each portion, I think that he could have had a really good business.
I think, yeah, I actually am happy that you said that, because I think that when I was first reading the question, I think I was kind of like, just because like it failed. But then now I think about like, I think, yeah, like, I mean, he even said to himself, like what I was just reading, is that maybe he was just being a little too ambitious. So maybe it was more of like the execution of the plan. So I can't and it's kind of like my bad. Like I can't just like throw out how good the plan is or is not just based on like how it was executed.
And you see, I think the plan was good on paper. Like it all sounded very promising and very well researched, and it seemed like he put a lot of time and effort into coming up with that plan. But people don't tend to start a business with 15,000 different departments and different areas of expertise and revenue streams. They start with like one or two things and kind of grow it from there and say, okay, well, let's expand into this realm. Let's expand into this realm. And I think that kind of doomed it from the start because it just seemed like he bit off a lot more than he can chew in practice. But on paper, yeah, it looks great. I mean, I couldn't come up with that business plan.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, you can tell that he must have been like really experienced. Like, I mean, well, just like, I don't know, like I mean, I guess experience is kind of like a relative word because you'd think that if he was like super experienced, then he would have like
He wouldn't have failed.
But I mean, the fact that he even knew to like create that plan and he was thinking of so many different aspects all at one time, like, I mean, you got to give him credit for that, you know? But
sure. I mean, it looks good.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a saying that my mission president actually taught me. He said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You have some people that have some really good ideas, and then when you try to execute them, they just completely fall apart.
Yeah, that's true.
So it seems like we're all kind of on the same page. Like it was a beautiful failure. Like it was a really well like organized, excellent on paper company that just in practice was not executed properly and failed because of that.
Which I mean, like that's all a part of business. Like
it really is.
Like you have to fail. Like I don't think when you actually like research any entrepreneur who's been like super successful, like they've experienced failures. Even if it wasn't like a company as a whole, like they've even experienced failures within their successful company, you know? And so it's like the way to like learn and grow. So yeah.
Yeah, learn from your mistakes. That's how it works. And it seems like he was ready to bounce back into something else. I mean, despite his failure.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. That's why I think it was a successful failure because he did learn from it, but he was ready to go. Okay, let me try this again in another avenue. And I think that makes a big difference. He didn't just immediately get discouraged and go, well, okay, let me just go back to a 9-to-5 job somewhere and not worry about it anymore.
Right. You know? So the next question is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, I think we've mostly discussed the next question. It seems like
yeah, I was going to say
a lot of points.
We've kind of highlighted those things that he could have done better. I mean, really, that was it. He just kind of jumped into it with both feet at the same time.
Am I allowed to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool.
I'm going to try to get a hold of Matthew while you're doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, he had emailed and said that he was getting spotty Wi-Fi at the school.
Let me see if I can taking a bathroom break. You want to join back in? I just said, hey, we're taking a little break. If you want to join back, I'll actually be right back in a second too. I'm going to get a cheese stick.
Okay.
Sounds good, right?
Yep.
Any products you want to invest in? Sister Martin's? We got to get her something. No, when we go out today, before we go to the temple, we'll get her something. Okay, I'm back.
Thanks, friends.
Well, we got back at the same time, and now I have a Slim Jim.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I just I was like holding it for a while, and I was like, I have to go.
It's okay. This was really good. All right.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
So we covered question 3 basically, right?
Yeah, at the
Vincent?
bottom it just says to talk about how their approach is different from Rent the Runway, blah, blah, Dropbox, and Mint.
Okay, I think
Well,
as far as like Rent the Runway, I was personally, I was really impressed by Rent the Runway's like beta testing, like how they went to the colleges, like they went to Harvard, they went to Yale, like, and they invited girls to come and bring their friends, and they made it this like social like they made it like this social thing where they could like test out their idea, see how much girls would be willing to pay for it. Like I thought that was really really smart.
isn't that a form of beta testing?
Yeah, I mean I think so.
Yeah, that's what they did that he didn't do.
Right.
Yeah,
He skipped that altogether.
yeah, and I thought that that's a huge thing that made them like I think that that was one of the reasons why they were successful. I mean, like they had their own problems. Like I'm not saying they were perfect, but I feel like in that area, like I thought they did like that was so like really powerful for their whole business model and like carrying it out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
I
it allowed
agree.
them to get those early problems out of the way. And kind of just like, it's almost like a small sample size of people that, okay, how's this business going to work out? Do you like it? Is it useful? That was valuable feedback that he
Oh,
really
yeah.
missed out on.
Oh, yeah. He did. He missed out on that. He missed out on building that whole foundation there. He just sort of went off of assumptions.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And so what do we think then? Was the failure of his company, was that beyond his control, or was he responsible for it? I think we kind of have answered this like 15 times already, but
Yeah. I think it was within his control. I think it's kind of, I mean, I hate to be mean, but it's his fault. He rushed everything. He didn't let things grow. He didn't let them, he didn't let the business organically grow into what it really could have been. He sort
Yeah.
of pushed everything and he rushed everything and he jumped the gun on it all, and then it flopped. And so I do think that it was within his control.
I would agree.
I think like if you think about the purpose like of this class, like entrepreneurial management, I think they're trying to teach us like how to be good entrepreneurs. And I think that this is something that all, like I was saying earlier, like entrepreneurs are notorious, for being so excited they just want to like jump the gun. And so I think
Yeah.
it makes sense of why we're like answering the same question like over and over, is because like they're trying to
Because we're
get it.
young and impatient.
Yeah, they're trying to get it in your brain, like, don't do
All right,
this.
speak for yourself over there.
Yeah, like don't. It's like don't. Even if you have a good business plan, like you need to carry it out right, And so it makes sense of like why they want us to read this case and talk about it and ask us those questions.
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head right there. And so what low-cost experiment could Stephen have done to test the assumptions beyond the main reason for failure? I think they're looking for something specific here, and I'm not sure what it is.
I think the low cost, I think he would have, the beta testing, I don't think that the beta testing had to have cost a ton of money. I think he could have come up with a simple, a simple product for people to experience, to play with, to offer feedback on, and he could have started out slowly there. And I think that that's, like we said, that's where he messed it up.
I agree.
Well, we kind of just went through that pretty much. I feel like we weren't redundant, but the questions were.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you guys said there. I think this is really the point of this is slow down, smell the roses, and be careful. Test as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Beta test it if possible, and don't try to implement 1,400 different things at once when you're starting a company.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. What is the next step for this group meeting?
So now do I
So-
just do that paper thing and I like do you guys want me to type out in a Word document the answers to those questions?
Yeah, if you don't mind, that would be
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
think
think
super cool.
we have
I
a
think I
series
already
of questions on the Andreessen Horowitz case. Does anybody want to go through
Oh, I
that real quick?
see.
I know that we've spent
Wait.
a
Yeah.
lot of time already. I'm
Are-
sorry.
Are they the ones where, because I think I copied and pasted the questions where it says that he wants us to like submit them. Like it says like what should Stephen Carpenter have done differently that they might have led to a successful venture?
Right.
Are those ones you're
So he
talking
wants
about?
us to answer those questions in the group and then put them on paper too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's
Is-
what we're supposed to do. Because underneath the list of questions for the Stephen Carpenter case is the list of questions for the Andreessen Horowitz case.
And so do we discuss those as well?
I think we're supposed to.
All
I mean, if you guys
right.
just want to kind of blitz through them and then go over, we can, because I think that all that we discussed answers the first question of the assignment, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, if someone wants to lead that, that would be cool.
Okay, let's try and make this quick. So it says, so far we've learned to evaluate business models of startups. Today we will examine the business model decisions of a startup in a mature industry. As a group, begin by discussing the following questions. Was the VC industry attractive for the A16Z to enter in 2009?
Yes and no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I had sort of
I feel like it
explained.
was kind of saturated, but they wanted to do something a little bit different, right?
They want to do something different, and at that time the market was shrinking, it was going down, and so I think by coming in with something different, they
They made
had
it
an
that way.
opportunity. What do you mean they made
Yeah.
it that way?
I mean, it makes sense. Like they were trying to diversify a little bit and yeah, that's like a I don't know, it's a kind of a confusing like I don't know if there's like a yes or like I don't know, a specific answer, I guess.
Yeah, that is kind of hard. What was the competition like at the time? That's a hard one too, because they were going into it, but they were coming in with a totally different way of doing
The
it.
competition
So-
was they were on a decline. They were trying to like scale back.
Right.
Right.
And they did have like the top 5 companies where if you didn't go through those top 5 companies, you pretty much didn't succeed in your business venture. And so I think by them coming in kind of like over here with a totally different model really set them separate.
Which is
Yeah.
probably like why they saw it as an opportunity, like a business opportunity, is because they recognized, okay, like there's like these huge incumbents like in the market, but they're not doing too hot. So if we can come in with like a different
Diversify a little bit.
process or different business model, you know, then maybe we can disrupt the industry.
And I think it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says, what was the typical fate of new entrants into the industry? We pretty much already know that if you weren't one of those top 5s, being, a venture capitalist didn't really pay out for you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's almost
And
like a abandon hope ye who enter here, kind of like an omen to anybody trying to enter that industry.
right. But then they were coming in with a totally different model of doing it, which I kind of love. I love their model on that. So, or their way of doing it, I guess, is what I love about it. All right. What were the trends in VC fund performance during this time? That was all declining. The percentage rates on returns was going down. The amount of people who were actually going, ventures that were getting funding was going down. Everything was kind of faltering. I mean, that was like 2008 recession time,
Mm-hmm.
everything was going downhill.
Yeah.
And the cost of where they were with the technical crowd, the cost of running and starting up that stuff was going down as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it was also kind of a turning point in the economy. 2009 was bad.
Yeah, that's what.
So it really
the
wasn't a good time to
recession.
start anything.
Right. So yeah, they had a lot, and then they were coming in with this whole new viewpoint on it. Okay, With all the entrenched incumbents and catch-22s, what silver lining did A16Z see? How did they plan to succeed in this difficult environment?
Well, I think one of the silver linings was like, I think customers appreciated like the different approach and strategy that they had. You know, like I think at that point, because of like all the different factors that were going into it, I think that it was kind of refreshing, you know, like maybe not like I don't think the investors I mean like there were some people who were obviously focused on the incumbents, but I think that some people were also like, hey, this is like a breath of fresh air.
Right, especially in an older, saturated market and an economically, I guess, in a decline. They said, okay, this is new, this is fresh. Maybe we can trust this. Maybe we can kind of dip our toes in the water a little bit.
Yeah.
Why is A16Z specifically targeting first-time technical co-founders? How has the cost of tech startups impacted the VC industry? We already kind of talked about that.
I'm not supposed to be writing these ones down yet, right? Like, okay.
No. But by talking about these things, I think we'll be able to finish those questions quickly.
Yeah.
So do we all submit a file for the group questions? You know what I'm talking about?
The group assignment, no. I believe it's one person that submits it.
Okay.
And that's for the link too, right? Like for our actual meeting that we're recording right now.
Right.
I can submit the link. So you guys are going to like rotate our hosting? Like this week would be me, next week will be someone else.
Yeah.
How do you want to do it?
I can do next week.
And so that person will submit the link, and then I guess we can have a secondary person will be the one that submits the answers.
Yeah. So I can submit the answers this week. There's only
and then
2
I'll do them next week. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. I think we've taken so much time. So the one thing that I really liked about their company, their business for this, was that the way that they approached the business ventures that people were coming to them for funding for was this okay, instead of just looking at all the ways that and reasons why you could fail, they looked at the ventures and went, okay, what are the bones of this? Are any of them good? Does anybody want it? What do you guys think? Like they took upon this idea of, okay, there's going to be problems. There's going to be a million reasons why we shouldn't give these people money. So rather than looking at that, let's look at why we should.
Right. And then ultimately they're looking for, is this the same old stuff that has been failing already?
Right. Because the other companies, the top 5 over there, are going, well, why shouldn't we? And they would say, nope, we did our algorithms, you're out. And they didn't do that. They looked more at what are the bones of your idea? Are they solid? Are they sound? Great. Let's go with that, and let's help you fine tune the muscle and the meat of it. And I thought that was really great. So I think that pretty much covers the whole number 2 section. I'm just trying to speed this up because I feel bad. It's already been like an hour.
Just, you know what it was? Half an hour we spent trying to get Zoom working because I couldn't figure it out.
That's true.
No, yeah, it's okay. It'll be better next time.
Yeah.
So now are we on the written questions?
Yeah, let's skip over to those because.
Okay, so I already have them copied and pasted into a Word document, and I just barely started answering one of them. So the first one is, what should Stephen Carpenter have done differently that might have led to a successful venture? Give specific actions and expected results. General thoughts will not be sufficient. So,
beta testing.
Yeah, so far, all I've written is our group believes that there was a lot that Stephen Carpenter had going for him in the business model. He had good intentions and a promising idea. However, we believe that his main downfall came from his avoidance or lack of.
It's also a little bit arrogant to just assume that your business is going to be so perfect you don't need to test anything.
It really is.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I hate to say that. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, you're right. It is. Like, oh no, this is great. These people here who
I'm perfect. My plan is perfect. Why test anything?
Right. What? I would say his failure. I'd say, that his failure was to not build the foundational layer by beta testing and getting viable feedback on his product.
Yeah. I mean, he lost out.
And
also another failure was just jumping in too much. He had so many things going on that it really wasn't clear what he was trying to accomplish. It was just too big.
Too big, too fast.
Too big for a startup.
Yeah, it's kind of like he envisioned the business 5 years down the road and was jumping straight to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got that.
Trying to run a startup like it's already a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
So Matthew, basically, just to give you a little rundown, we're going to have a rotation schedule for the group host, and the group host will lead us through the questions and submit the link. And then the secondary person is going to be the one that like dictates the answers to the written assignment and then submits it for the group.
Okay.
Did I say that coherently?
Yeah.
So next week, Carissa is going to host the group and I'll submit the questions.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I was at the school library and like all of a sudden the Wi-Fi just cut. So I was like, well,
that's fine.
What are you going to do?
We said the same thing probably 15 times for this case study. The answers to all the questions were pretty similar.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what I have for our answer to the first question. Let me know what you guys think. Our group believes that there was a lot that Stephen Carpenter had going for him in the business model. He had good intentions with a promising idea. However, we believe that his arrogance and that idea kept him from carrying it out correctly and carefully. He failed to not take the time to beta test. He was not able to get viable feedback. He grew too big too fast. He was trying to run the startup like it was already a Fortune 500 company. We believe that if he would have focused on one aspect of the business at a time and had been more patient for growth, he could have been more successful.
The only thing I would change where it said he failed to not take the time, that's a double negative. Just make it he failed to take the time to beta test.
Good catch.
Good catch.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it.
Okay, no, seriously, good catch. Okay, so the next question is, should A16Z seek to double its assets under management over the next 2 years? If you support rapid expansion, would you diversify into other sectors? Life sciences, clean tech, geographies.
We just saw a big example of a company trying to go too fast, not working out.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think?
Well, I don't know that this one is going too fast because they did start, I mean, at the time of when they're trying to make this decision, they have been in business for a while. And I think that they're kind of considering, okay, so we've been really good up to this point. We're developed. We're in a nice sweet spot. What do we do next? My answer to this on my assignment was, I think the only way to double their assets under management would be if they diversified into China. Mm-hmm. Because I think that going life sciences and clean tech, the case study said was on the downward, in popularity. People weren't really, going there. And then New York, they talked about it being really difficult to get tech companies and tech stuff going there. And
there's so many of them.
Right, but they said that they said China would be good, except it's easy to lose money. So my thought was double, and you're going to have management. You would have to, and they said that they'd have to get more general partners there to oversee any and all deals in China, and that's the only way that I can think that would be beneficial. Otherwise, it's not worth doing that.
I like that a lot because it's still, I mean, it's rapid growth, but it's careful, conservative, rapid growth in a market that has a lot of room for that.
Right.
If they go to China, so.
Yeah, with general partners that are really going to fine tune and look hard at those deals
and know what they're doing.
Yeah. But other than that, no, I don't think that they should take the time or the money to do that because the other avenues that they're discussing here are.
Poor Tessa's like trying to type everything up real quick.
I know, sorry.
She's like, slow down, guys.
Okay, so let me tell you what I have so far because I still feel like I don't feel like I've captured the whole like China part yet, but I'm starting to. So like, let me tell you what I have so far. We learned that so I kind of started off saying like we learned that in the Steve Carpenter case that there can be great danger in growing too fast. We believe that it is possible for them to double their assets and grow because they've been around longer and have already seen success. If they expand carefully over the next 2 years and have partners in China who know the industry, and that's where I stopped.
I love that. I think it's perfect. So far.
Well, but I definitely think I need more. Like, I don't think I should stop there. Like, I think I need something more of like.
So can you read that
the
last
worst part is you've already said what we said.
It says I said if they expand carefully over the next 2 years and have partners in China who know the industry. So that's like not even a full sentence yet.
So if they expand carefully over the next 2 years and put the right people in the right places in the right times, then what? We can expect to see healthy, sustainable growth over the future of this company.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, we're supposed to kind of make a statement as to what we would do. I mean, we could just say, then we would recommend that course of action.
Yeah. And we would recommend to avoid other sectors and geographies other than China or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Just make it sound fancy because you're pretty good at that.
Well, I thought that was pretty good. Okay, like what she said. So, put the right people in the right place at the right time, we can expect to see sustainable growth for the company. We would recommend to avoid other sectors and
that are saturated or existing. I don't know how to word that. Like, why not New York? The reason is there's 1,000 companies.
We would recommend to avoid other sectors that could distract them from, like, I don't know, from the focus they would need in order to experience sustainable growth.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Because if you try to go into all kinds of different things at once, you're going to do exactly what the first case study did.
Right.
So I think we're on the right track there. Focus on one thing and stick with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poor Matthew's having a really hard time with his computer.
I know.
He's just in and out. We should still put his name down because he was trying to be here.
Oh, of course.
I love that mystery because it is possible for them to double. And grow.
And then can you email that document to us when you're done?
Yeah. Do you want me to email it to you before I submit it?
No, I mean, you don't have to. I trust you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll read it over to you guys before right now I'm just like fixing like little things. They have been around longer and how already seems if they explain carefully. 2 years.
Making the Word document for the group meeting link right now.
Okay. Okay, I think I have it. So let me know what you guys think about this. Okay, we learned that in the Steve Carpenter case that there can be great danger in growing too fast. We believe that it is possible for them to double their assets and experience growth because they have been around longer and have already seen success. If they plan to expand carefully over the next 2 years and have partners in China who know the industry, putting the right people in the right place at the right time, we can expect to see sustainable growth for the company. We would simply recommend that they avoid other sectors that may distract them from experiencing that true sustainable growth.
Love it. Perfect.
That was great.
Good.
That's a winner.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll forward this to you guys.
Tessa, can you spell your last name for me? And then Carissa after that.
Yeah, Wade, W-A-D-E.
Okay, and then Carissa.
Glover, Glover.
Perfect. I'm uploading the link assignment right now.
Oh, did we stop recording?
Okay, so only one person does submit that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
one person will submit the documents with the questions, and then one person will submit the group link for each week.